gozaimasu. The hat tip to Sumie, the fantastic artist of botanical Shakespeare, who's Japanese. Ohayo gozaimasu means good morning, but it also means whenever you start anything, whenever you start work, it could be midnight. So we start with that because of the vagus nerve that connects the head and the heart. Like it's a direct channel. So you go, oh, because I must be the same principle as chanting. When you go oh, and there are a lot of O's in Shakespeare, we actually counted them up at one point, and I have to find where the total was. But, you know, this wooden oh, he starts so many things with that, because it opens the mouth, and the mouth to breathe, and the mouth to connect the vagus nerve with that tone, that sound. And then we add the herbs to breathe in, to connect and cleanse all the organs into the brain fog and everything else, because one of the reasons that we do Shakespeare therapy is to connect you to the root of humanity, which is, you know, Shakespeare sort of embodies that, if you will, bear the mixed metaphor, because it fires your brain and it has so much of humanity in it through the characters and the relationships, and it certainly has a lot of war and a lot about war in there. But anyway, and then the herbs that Hannah brings on, or the other people that we have different aspects of that, but Hannah for healing, because she's a medical herbalist, we talk about, you know, how to anchor yourself in a healing mentality with things that you can get at the grocery store, grow in your garden, or grow in your windowsill, or all of that stuff, right? So I'm pushing today because we're in a world situation where we need as many wise people on deck as we can possibly get. We are doing the thing that we've been posting a lot, and will continue to post, is olive, because olive has long been a symbol of peace, and they don't have olive branches at the flower market on the corner, and they should, because a friend of mine did an amazing thing, my friend Esther, when her sister died during COVID, during the pandemic time, and we couldn't really touch each other at that point. And there had been some fractiousness in the family. So she greeted people at the memorial service with olive branches. And everybody took an olive branch, and I'm going to cry. They connected with the olive branch. They connected through peace by giving and receiving and taking the olive branch, which I think is just a lovely thing to do. And you could do it in all not just a memorial service, but all kinds of ceremonies, weddings. So we're going to do olive, and, you know, because they don't have that, we do reach for the regular one, which is olive oil, you know, the staple olive oil. And this one has lemon and thyme as well in the olive oil. So that's 2 more Shakespeare plants. And our line of the week is from the Duke of Burgundy in Henry V, which is a play about war. And it used to be considered pro-war, but now another reading has revealed another layer of its anti-war stance. So that's always interesting with Shakespeare. You never get 1 meaning when you can get 2. You never get 2 meanings when you can get 3. It's layered, which is another reason why it fires up the synapses in the brain. And we have some stuff in the link tree about that. So let it not disgrace me if I demand before this royal view what rub or what impediment there is. Why? That the naked, poor, and mangled piece, dear nurse of arts and joyful births, should not in this best garden of the world put up her lovely visage. But the line is, the naked, poor, and mangled piece. That's something to have in your quiver. That's something to have in your stock of words and phrases and things that float around your head, you know, like earworms. Not a song, but a line. The naked, poor, and mangled piece. So for the people of Ukraine, that is what we are doing today. So I'll bring on Hannah. Hannah. Good morning and good evening. How are you doing? Oh, you're at an angle like I am. You're at a different angle too. You've got your tinctures and I've got the books. So anyway, yeah, I'm talking about peace and mangled peace. And so thank you so much for bringing up sunflowers and the flower of Ukraine. And they are a symbol of hope and healing, I think, for them. But what do they do for our health, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted just to talk about them briefly, just because it's, you know, it's a flower that's, you know, in the, you know, being talked about in the media a lot at the moment, with it being the national emblem of Ukraine. And, you know, whilst it's not in Shakespeare, there's quite a lot of the flowers that we've talked about previously, that can be infused in sunflower oil. To extract basically to make an oil that you can use topically on the skin, and infusing marigold, so another very sunny Asteraceae daisy family flower, into that oil can extract basically the really good constituents from calendula into the oil that we can then make into ointments and creams and all that kind of thing. In terms of how we use it, it's one of the main oils that we use to extract infused oils into. So as herbalists, we also infuse St. John's wort flowers in sunflower oil, quite a few other things as well, but also olive oil.
Yes.
So when you're putting flowers into any oil, it's called an infusion, and you can either infuse with the sun, which we're actually got some here today. So you can either, with some oils you can leave them on a sunny windowsill, and let the flowers infuse in the sun, in heat, supposedly, for about a month. For others, they might need to be heat infused, so heat infused on a hob, very, very gently for a couple of hours.
On a hob? What's a hob?
On the top of a cooker, the rings on the top of a cooker.
Once again, two countries separated by a common language. Okay. Put it on the stove, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else. Okay, so you would warm the oil a little bit and put the flowers in, or the plants in. And so olive oil, is sunflower oil used more often than olive oil to infuse?
This is where it gets a bit debatable. So, you know, some sort of commercially made infused oils, you'll see, you know, we only infuse this in sunflower oil, whereas other ones you will say, oh no, we only infuse it in you know, olive oil. Who knows is the long and short of it, because the reason why we make infused oils as herbalists is basically for topical preparations to put on the skin. We don't drink them, so we either use them in oil form to use as an oil rub, or we turn the oil into a salve, or we turn the oil along with other ingredients into a cream. So as a kind of a base ingredient, or one that you can kind of use on its own, but for external use.
I mean, infused olive oils are used for cooking all the time. I mean, I use the lemon, and there's so much about how you should have all this olive oil per day, and you can put it on your face for beauty, and you can put it on your hair for moisturizing, and all of that kind of stuff. But I have been reading a lot lately about how not all oils are created the same, and how they are made, and where you're getting them from. If you're getting a super cheap oil from Costco or something, it's probably not a very good one. That's the thing. And people cut corners, and they, you know, and it's just not, it's not good for you. It can have, I don't know, I think it was contaminants and all that kind of stuff. So it's something to keep in mind. I mean, I suppose it's better than having a bad oil like vegetable oil or corn oil or all that stuff. But do keep in mind that the grades of olive oil do matter for a difference, matter for a reason, right? And I don't know about sunflower oil. Do you have to get a particular kind of sunflower oil?
I don't know. I mean, you can. I mean, over here you can buy organic sunflower oil. So you know, if you can afford to buy organic products, all the better. But if you can't, then a good quality one, I'm sure would be okay.
Okay. And when you say make a salve, do you just mean like the infused oil and you put it on your, like, would you put it on burns, or would you put, like, what's an example that you would infuse the sunflower oil with and then use it?
I haven't got one here. Or have I? Hang on. I have.
Okay. I'll get the olive while we're doing that. Oh, that reminds me.
I didn't make this, a herbalist friend made it. But that's a salve.
Oh, wow.
So a salve is basically oils mixed with some kind of wax to make it thin.
Right.
So the usual kind of ratio is 90% oil to 10% wax. And you heat the oil, whether it be beeswax or a vegan alternative wax. You heat the oil, so you heat the wax so that it melts, and then you add in the oil that you're using, which can be one or a number of different oils. And we're talking about infused oils here, not essential oils, although some people can add essential oils into it, but that's a whole different story about ratios and chemistry. And then you just simply pour it as a liquid thing. You pour it into whatever you're pouring it into, and then it sets solid like that.
Fantastic. So olive oil and sunflower oil and olive branches, and here's Sumier's beautiful olive that we've been repurposing in all kinds of different ways. There are eight different quotes about olives in Shakespeare, and most of them have to do with peace. So something to think about while we all have peace on our mind, the naked, poor, and mangled peace. And it certainly is mangled right now. We are doing part 2 with Hannah of olive and sunflower that we started last week. And one of the reasons, that we do botanical Shakespeare and Shakespeare therapy is to get more wisdom in your life. So I was just reading that today is the anniversary of the discovery of a 350,000-year-old fossilized human footprints found in Italy. Now, almost half of Shakespeare's plays take place in Italy, but he's a youngster in compared to that. And what are we doing? We've been on the planet all this time, and we're still kind of having the same problems, which is why Shakespeare is still relevant. But it makes you worry a little bit about evolution. But the reason is we want to anchor in wisdom and anchor in healing. And so by being conscious of these plants and herbs and oils and all of these different things, we have not only, see, big breath there, that's a cleansing breath, cleansing thought. We find a way to bring that wisdom into what's on our plate, what's in our noses, what we're infusing our lives with. And so, I'm a Shakespeare pusher because all of these plants have, olive has 8 lines attached to it, and they are mostly about peace. And olive is in the Bible in reference to peace, an olive branch. And there is in Italy a blight on olive trees, which is a concern to actually the woman who wrote our foreword, Helen Mirren. And so there's all these things. And then again, we also chose olive because of the war going on in Ukraine. And the line of the week, I bring no overture of war, no taxation of homage. I hold the olive in my hand. I hold the olive in my hand. My words are as full of peace as matter. And so that matters because the more peaceful thoughts you have, the more peace you emanate into the world. And I do think that that's one of the main thrusts of Shakespeare, to be honest. So last week you were talking about, you showed us a salve, I think, that, what was in there?
You can use any kind of herbal infused oil to put into a salve or an ointment. It just depends what you want the salve to do. So I've got a little gadget. with me.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Just to show what the oil can sort of turn into. So we've done calendula before, haven't we?
Yes, calendula is marigold, and marigold is mentioned several times in Shakespeare and has a great line about it opens to the sun and then closes at night, because that's what marigolds do. They open when it's daytime, and when it starts to shut down, the petals shut down to open another day. They go to sleep. They have a little nap overnight.
So when you infuse those really gorgeous, bright, sort of orangey yellow petals into oil.
Oh, beautiful.
That's what happens.
So with olive oil, like I mentioned, people put it in hair. I could probably use a little today. And on your skin to moisturize and, helping dry skin. And does sunflower oil do the same thing?
Sunflower oil has more of a benefits. It's a good cooking oil. So it's the seeds that the oil's pressed out of. Yeah. So those seeds are really, really high in B vitamins and vitamin E. So vitamin E is good for the skin, obviously. Mm-hmm. And basically with the oil, you're going to get some of that benefit in the cooking. But then also, if you eat sunflower seeds, there's benefit there. And if you look in some of the older herbals, it talks about sunflower seeds helping people to build physical endurance and resilience. And sort of being good at disease resistance. I don't quite know the mechanism behind that, but yeah.
Well, that's certainly what the Ukrainian people need right now. And I mentioned this movie, Everything is Illuminated, and it's so funny, and it takes place, it's very funny in the beginning and then incredibly moving at the end, and it takes place in that area. And I don't want to give it away, but I do highly, highly recommend it. It actually is directed by the actor Liev Schreiber. So he loved the book so much that he wanted to make a movie out of it. So, I mean, there is a reason why I'm mentioning it now, and if you think about it, you could probably guess, but I won't. No spoilers. Anyway, so what do you use olive oil and sunflower oil for? What do you, commonly infuse them with?
The infused oils tend to be sort of, they tend to extract well into oil, because some constituents just don't. And something that does extract really well into olive oil, but I don't think it's in Shakespeare, is this, which is hypericum, which is St. John's wort.
All right, no. You showed me that when I was in Lincoln with you, and it makes your fingers all pink when you squish it. Yes.
Even though it's a yellow flower, it's great.
Kind of like quince.
Yeah. And then you've got some sort of really, really thick oils that you can infuse into olive oil. This won't show it well at all, but that's plantain oil.
Oh, and it makes a beautiful, beautiful green color.
I will use that in chest salves. It's a really, really good demulcent for the chest. So it will, if you add other herbs to it, sort of things like thyme and hyssop, it will make a really, really nice chest salve to help you to expectorate phlegm.
Is there anything we've forgotten, Hannah?
Well, the only thing I was going to say about olive oil is that, obviously olive oil is another one we can use in our cooking. But it's really, really high in something called, if you get the cold pressed olive oil, which is the best type, you're looking at an oil that's very, very, that's the one that's high in the oleic acid. So that's the one that can really, really help to take down high cholesterol and also help to reduce the risk of developing atherosclerosis. So, the furring up and hardening of the arteries and help to reduce blood pressure as well. So that's the oil where you're going to get a load of good heart benefits from. But equally, interestingly, the olive leaf itself has similar effects too. And then there's some research to say that olive leaf can help with insulin resistance and the onset of type 2 diabetes.
I actually did see something about olive leaf recently. Oh, that's fantastic. A friend of mine was just diagnosed as pre-diabetic. So I mean, there's all these things that we could, with a little bit of mindfulness, keep ourselves healthy so that we're not kind of, and I don't want to say slaves, but the world is changing, and we need to harness our wisdom and harness our healing as much as we can ourselves, instead of so much relying on the shifting sands of all of these systems, So thank you for that. That's a really good tip. But what would you do with the olive leaf? Just chew on it? How does that work?
You'd need to extract it into something. Okay. So, if you've got fresh olive leaf, you could do fresh olive infusion, so fresh olive tea, or you could steep it in vodka and make a tincture.
Well, I like the vodka part. That's our historical drinkery guy, Drew Bolander, for him. But anyway, so that's fantastic. And we'll just go back to the last week. The line of the week was, the naked, poor, and mangled piece from Henry V. And Viola's line in Twelfth Night is, my words are as full of peace as matter. It's actually Good Samaritan Day today. So if your words are as full of peace as matter, that matters. Commit to the line of the week. It helps those brain synapses. And there's an article in the Atlantic we'll post in the link tree about why we need wisdom. So, and Shakespeare has a lot of it. My words are as full of peace as matter.